In today's video, we're going to create an Erlenmeyer flask, but before we do, let's look at this quick ad and we'll come right back and get started. All right, welcome back, guys. Let's get into it. So first, I cleared my scene. I'm coming in and I'm going to bring in a reference photo. And this reference photo is a photo of an Erlenmeyer flask I just found online with an image search. And I'm going to use this to trace the basic shape. So what I want to do is I want to start with a circle with 16 vertices. And I'm going to start at the very bottom and I'm just going to work my way up. We're doing the same techniques we typically do every time. So it's extrusion and scaling. Extrusion and scaling. And I'll just be quiet in this little part of the video so you guys can just kind of watch how I do this. This video is really intended for beginners because you guys have seen me do this before in other videos, but figured we go back to basics on this one. All right, working my way up to the neck. And all I'm doing is hitting extrude with E and then S to scale it out. And then I'm just working from there. So one thing with dealing with the top of this flask is I want to bring in that edge there by extruding and scaling again. But then if you look at these two edges, I'm just trying to line them up as best I can because now I'm going to come in there and do bridge these edge loops here. So I'm selecting the first edge loops, second edge loops, bridge edge loops, bam, done. This is going to allow us to put some thickness on this with the solidifier modifier versus having to model all of that thickness. So this saves us a little bit of time, and this makes a lot more sense for a shape simple like this. One thing I noticed, I forgot to close in the bottom, but it's easy. As always, keep quad solution, grid fillet. All right, now turn solidify back on so I can see the effect. And if you notice, I'm bringing in a camera because I'm going to go ahead and start setting up a scene. I'm just getting proportion and composition like I want it. And now I'm just going to disable the reference photo. I'm going to bring in a plane, a ground plane. Scale it out. I'm going to make a backdrop out of it. Very standard, very easy. I mean, it's pretty much how everybody does it. I'm just going to add a little thickness to mine, and I'm going to add a sub D on it. Just so we don't see those creases or those lines in there. When we go to render, Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm tightening up some of the geo up here by putting in some bevels around the lip of that flask. Because when we turn sub D on, I want it to look right. Just really small refinements we're making here. I'm gonna let sub D do most of the work for this particular model. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm getting what looks like shading issues, but it really isn't. Let's go to cycles and go to render view. And I'm just kind of checking up there where it looks kind of funky to me. I'm gonna bring an area light in. I'm getting rid of all the default lights. Let's create a new material for this thing. Let's make a glass material. I'm just gonna do a basic one. So I'm gonna do the principal BSDF. I'm gonna crank the roughness down. I don't want it on 0, but I'm gonna crank it down quite a bit and then turn transmission to a value of 1. Basic glass. And I applied my solidifier, modifier. And I'm gonna crank sub D up to 3. All right, let's take a look at it. Yeah, the top of that doesn't look weird. I thought it did at first, but it looks okay. So I'm changing my area light up here to have an ellipse shape. So for nice curvy objects like this flask is, the light will just roll off of it a lot nicer than having that blocky square one. So now what I'm doing in here is I'm going in here and selecting some faces of the flask itself. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a duplicate of the selection and I'm going to separate it out into its own object. And that's going to be where we're going to apply the label for the measurements. And I'll disable sub D on it. So right now, if you would have rendered this out, you would see any difference. This looks like just the same thing we had before. The difference is we're going in here and I'm going to be creating a material for this. I already made some artwork for it, so I'm just going to pull that in. And I'm going to connect alpha with alpha on principal BSDF, and that's just going to blow everything out to where it's just literally transparent. And that's why I made the selection. Had I done it on the actual glass, it would have cut the background piece of that artwork out in the glass. The glass would have had like a hole in it. And if you're looking in the image and you see something that looks slightly cut off to the right, that's because I have a deflection panel there as part of the scene. I just didn't show you guys when I made it. So also coming in here with this label and changing it to clip. So as soon as the artwork is presented, it doesn't show it anymore. It won't extend it, it won't repeat it or anything like that. I'm basically just showing you guys the layout of the scene. It's pretty easy. I got 2 lights, 2 area lights, a camera, and a deflector panel. It's just a plane with a roughness set all the way up. So it bounces the light off on the other side of that glass and keeps that glass from being too shiny. So here we go. Here's your finished product. The one thing I did do that I didn't show in the video is I created a piece of cork at the top. So I just basically modeled in a sphere, changed it, didn't add any bevel to it, and stuck a shader on it. That was it. I mean, it was like literally 30 seconds of work. If you guys love this content, like and subscribe for more videos. I'll be posting them more frequently, like I said in my last one. And glad you guys are here. And look to see you guys subscribing, and look for the next video. It's coming up soon. See you then, guys. Take care. Peace.